Now, the biggest reaction to a court ruling isn't always the ruling itself. Sometimes it's the realization that something people assume would last forever actually had an expiration date. Y'all, look at this.
So now my question to the Supreme Court, what exactly am I going to say to those 100,000 children who were born here and whose parents are on CPS and can be at any time deported? What should be my answer? And my hope is that you have a child. If you don't have a child, you have a nephew, you have a cousin, and you know how deeply connected parents are to their children. And for you to sit on this highest Supreme Court desk and make such a terrible, horrible decisions, to me, this is not acceptable. And I think this is the time for all of us, this entire country, need to stand together and to say enough is enough. This is not acceptable. This is inhumane. So now my question to the Supreme Court.
Notice where this conversation starts, right? Not with the wording of the ruling, not at all, not with the temporary protected status and the definition of it and what it really means, not with what authority the court actually recognized. It starts with hard work. Now, whether you agree with, the speaker or not, that's a real emotion, right? Families involved, people, have built their lives here. But emotion answers a different question than legality. Those two different things. And when they get blended together, everybody ends up talking past each other. That's all I'm saying. Then the conversation shifts somewhere completely different, y'all. I mean, completely different, because once that moolah, that money enters into the picture, people suddenly stop talking about feelings.
I asked DHS General Counsel if DHS is going to allow a grace period for the 300,000 Haitians who are having their TPS terminated to leave the country, or will arrest and deportations begin immediately. He said, quote, "It's closing time. They don't have to go home, but they can't stay." He urged Haitians, he urged the Haitians to use the CBP Home app to take advantage of the $2,600 payment to self-deport instead of being subjected to ICE arrest and detention. Now, I know why they're doing that, because it's cheaper to give them the money to go away than it is to detain and arrest and everything else. But I can't believe that you paid for their freaking hotels, their foods, their medical care, everything else, and now we're paying them to leave. You know who I'd like to have pay for this? Catholic Charities. Catholic Charities. You did more to bring more illegals into this country, I think, than anybody else. Catholic Charities. We should be pounding on your door. I want relief as a taxpayer. Lutheran Immigration Services. HIAS, another one. The International Rescue Committee. That's another one. Red Cross, you're another big one. We should be knocking on your door and saying, pay up. You brought these people in. Why is the taxpayer on the hook yet again for this? By the way, if you're sending a dime to Catholic Charities, you should reconsider that. If you're sending a dime to the Red Cross, you should reconsider that. I don't know why I'm paying for it again. Why are you paying for it? Why are you paying for it again? You just paid for their health care. You paid for their food. You paid for their hotels. Literally, their hotels. You've paid for all the crime and all that expense. Why are you on the hook paying for that? And I understand why the government's doing it. It's cheaper to do it this way, but it pisses me off.
Now, I hope y'all was listening carefully, right? I forgot where the camera was at. I went all the way up over here. I'm so used to it. Hope y'all was listening carefully, because he's not arguing that enforcement is free. He's arguing about who should pay. That's a different debate, right? Whether you agree with him or not, the point he raises is about incentives and taxpayer responsibility, not simply immigration itself. Public policy eventually arrives at the same destination every time. Who makes the decision and who gets the bill? Now, if I get my mouse together, it's acting stubborn. Now I want you to watch what happens when a discussion leaves dollars and into his television.
It is an attack on everybody that's not a white South Afrikaner.
They're getting exactly what they want, the whitening of America through the judicial process.
Trump's loyalists in the Supreme Court have joined forces with him to deny immigrants internationally recognized human rights and advance an authoritarian white supremacist agenda here at home.
It is an
They
attack
all
on
got to be
everybody.
authoritarian, white supremacists. Authoritarian, yeah, I would like to hear that. Well, I don't like to hear that at all, but I would rather hear that more than the white supremacy. Very futile. And this is where the temperature jumps. Instead of debating, whether TPS should continue, the conversation becomes about motives. When political discussions move from is the policy right to you must secretly be, this kind of person, finding common ground becomes a lot harder. Viewers deserve arguments they can evaluate, not assumptions about why someone holds them. Crazy, man. And that's exactly why this next panel, it just gets so tense.
I think it's like such a devastating way to go into celebrating 250 years of America by kicking out the people who make America great, who make this country what it is. The immigrants who come and say, you know what, I'm going to come as a doctor, an engineer. I'm going to bring my talents to Springfield, Ohio, and make that a home.
Was the Haitian migrant who killed 11-year-old Aiden Clark making America better with that action?
That is
conflating.
What about all the white people who commit crimes in this country? You're going to kick them out of this country? You're going to tell me it's just as racist as Donald Trump's comment?
I think it's like such a devastating.
The fact that the black people, like, bruh. I mean, y'all already know how quickly conversations can change directions. One side emphasizes, contributions. The other brings up crime. Now, neither topic automatically cancels each other out. Obviously, one of them derived with a leftist bias in mind. Let's be honest about that. But, like I said, neither one of them technically cancels each other's out. Society can acknowledge positive contributions while also discussing serious crimes committed by individuals. I think the challenge is just resisting the temptation to reduce millions of people to a single story, good or bad. Now let's zoom out, because this definitely just wasn't one panel. This was a broader media conversation.
People, they can't go back. It's real. The reality in Haiti is real.
In a 6-3 vote, the Supreme Court gave the Trump administration the green light and temporary protected status for more than 250,000 Haitians. TPS Haiti advocates say the Supreme Court's decision is cruel. They described forced deportations to the gang-riddled nation like a death sentence.
I would not say we would likely going back. We're going to stick together. We're going to keep on fighting.
The battle is not over.
And so the court's decision is actually really good for Haiti as a country, as a sovereign nation, because the first word in TPS is temporary. It's always supposed to be temporary. And specifically in regards to the Haitians who have come here, the first batch came, I think, in 2010 after the earthquake in Haiti. It's been 16 years since the earthquake. So that's not temporary. And at what point, by American standards, are we going to decide that Haiti is livable again? When's that day coming? Is that coming in 6 months? Is that coming in a year? Probably not anytime soon. And one thing that doesn't get talked about is some of these TPS recipients, not all but some, have been doctors, lawyers, engineers, teachers who left Haiti. How is Haiti as a nation supposed to rebuild itself when we've brain drained a lot of their talent and planted them in Springfield, Ohio, where that's not fair to the residents of Springfield, Ohio, either. And as a nation, we are legally obligated to our own citizens before we're obligated to anybody else. Springfield, Ohio, notice how the migrants they're never brought to Nantucket. They're never brought to Beverly Hills. They're never brought to Martha's Vineyard. They're never going to go compete with hedge fund bros who inherited the job from their dad. They're always going to be brought to middle America, places like Springfield, Ohio, where they're going to have to compete with Americans for wages, depreciate those wages. I'm sure, does anybody at this table, have you heard the name Aiden Clark? An 11-year-old boy? No? You guys don't know his name?
Here we go
11-year-old boy killed
again.
by a Haitian immigrant under TPS with no American driver's license who rammed his car into a bus, killed 11-year-old Aiden, and injured 20 school children. Who is this good for?
Okay.
Not the Haitians, not the American people.
I love how they cherry pick isolated cases and forget the fact that people who are immigrants actually commit fewer crimes than people who are residents in this country. But first of all, I'm so glad that you're concerned about Haiti right now.
I am. It's a sovereign nation.
And the alleged brain drain. But the U.S. State Department says, would you let me speak? Because I let you speak. The U.S. State Department says that it's actually not safe for Americans to travel to Haiti right now. So you want to dump these people into a country where even our own State Department, the Trump administration, says it's not safe. But the larger problem is that this is a country that is now governed by a racist foreign policy and a racist immigration policy. At the same time, Stephen Miller is out here claiming that we don't allow anybody into this country for asylum anymore. The doors are closed. We're allowing white South Africans to come to this country. Those are the only people who can come to this country right now.
Our God does not like white people. You can just tell, every time he mentions white people, it's always this disdain that he has. Or anytime you mention a problem in any other direction, he brings it back to white people. Every single time. What's interesting here isn't simply, disagreement. It's that nearly every person involved is answering a different question. Some are asking, is this compassionate? Others simply ask, hey, is this legal? Is this sustainable? Those questions don't always produce the same answer. That's why people can watch the same ruling and leave, believing completely different things happen. Excuse me. And, that's why this final clip that we got, this thing shifts away from immigration entirely and just toward culture.
Don't move to the suburbs if you don't know how to act. Do not. We're good over here. We respect one another. We are building families. We don't want the riffraff over here. Okay? I notice that when the wrong type of people start to move in, you can easily spot it. And it's like, if you're coming from a different way of living, I'll put it that way, come and assimilate to what's going on over here. I am tired of the wrong type of people, and y'all know who I'm talking about, moving into neighborhoods and ruining them. It's like you don't even recognize the neighborhood. You don't. You're coming and you're blasting your music at all times of night. You're not keeping up with your property. You're giving the neighbors and the HOA problems, and then when someone corrects you and checks you about it, everything's race and everything is, I'm being discriminated against. They just don't want me here. Yeah, I don't either. I don't. I like my nice suburban neighborhood where I don't have to worry about if I leave my garage up too long that my belongings are going to be stolen. So when you come over here, learn how to act, get some decorum, have some manners, respect other people. And a lot of people will go and purposely bring their bad habits from their hood neighborhoods and bring it over here and expect and act like everybody else is doing something wrong when that's the whole reason why we're here. No offense. Nobody ever says, man, I can't wait to move into that predominantly black neighborhood. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some beautiful, amazing black neighborhoods in America. There are. But let's just be real. That's not the majority. It's not. Very sad. I want that to change. That's why I have a nonprofit to help these things change. But if you're moving to a better place, it's time to leave old habits. Get in line, get in order. What a concept.
Now, whether you're talking about neighborhoods, communities, or immigration, one idea just keeps resurfacing. Shared expectations. People generally get along better when they believe everyone is playing by the same basic rules. respecting each other, contributing to the community, obviously, and taking responsibility for their actions every single time. That conversation isn't limited to one race or one political party. It's a broader conversation, or a broader question about civic life, rather. Now, the Supreme Court ruling may have settled one legal question. Didn't settle the larger debate, I tell you that. The conversation isn't ending anytime soon. But before we reduce each other to slogans, it's worth remembering that good public discussion starts with understanding what actually happened, then deciding what we think about it. So if you made it to the end of this video, I want you to write the word standards, because that's exactly what we need, standards. And then I'm going to leave them with a scripture today, son, since you just want to come over. Anywho, I'm going to leave y'all with 1 Corinthians 14:40. It says, let all things be done decently and in order. Oh, man, if that's the case, Lord, I am sinning. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.